Welcome to our webinar in our continuing series on career and self-improvement webinars. My name is Carrie Keller and I am the Graduate Assistant in the William Patterson Alumni Office. Before I introduce our presenter, I'd like to go over how this webinar will work. First of all, you will be able to view the presentation on your computer screen. You will also be able to hear the presentation through your computer's audio system. Today's webinar is a little different than our previous webinars. You will be able to view the presenter and her model. When the webcam shows up on your computer screen, it will be very small, probably on the bottom left of your screen. So please click and drag the box as you would expand any other normal Windows window so that you can view the presentation in full screen. If you have any problems doing this, please type a question and we'll be happy to assist you. Please feel free to ask questions by typing them in. We will be monitoring your questions and stop occasionally to answer all of them. And now I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Allison's love affair with makeup and all things beauty related began at the age of 5. With both parents in theater production at WPUNJ, Allison could always be found backstage with the actors, makeup artists, and costumiers. She was transfixed by the power of makeup to transform people. Allison's career began in corporate recruiting and learning development training, which sparked her interest in public education and counseling. Self-taught, Allison has spent the past 20 years studying and applying the techniques of many famous makeup artists, including Kevyn Aucoin, Pat McGrath, Danny Sands, and the Makeup Forever Academy, and Bobbi Brown. Her goal is to help women navigate the ever-changing world of skincare and beauty and translate current trends into wearable everyday makeup. Her unique eye for color, natural ability to make clients feel comfortable, and tireless attention to detail are what set Allison Morgan Beauty apart. So now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Allison Morgan, presenting Makeup 101, Skincare and Makeup Basics for Interview-Ready Faces.
Say something.
We are working on getting the webcam showing. Give us just a second. Thanks for your patience.
It's not coming up.
There it is.
We can't see it though.
Ah, there we are. Okay. Oops. Hi, I'm Allison Morgan, class of 2000, which makes me really old. I am here with my model, Lynn, and we're going to work together. It's not going to be where I'm just talking. Lynn and I actually met last week, and I will tell you the reasons why a little bit later. But I want you to go away from this webinar feeling like you understand better the world of makeup and the world of beauty. I know that often we feel like the world of beauty is extremely overwhelming. There are so many options. There are new trends coming out literally every day. And I think that having someone that lives in that world that can help you directly is what really you need to see happen more in this industry. So Lynn and I met last week. And the reason we met is because all of my clients get one-on-one time with me. And what we do is we go to a Sephora together to navigate through skincare and makeup together. So Sephora can be very overwhelming, I know. Even for me, as someone who is a client of Sephora, I find it very overwhelming. The best way to navigate it is to learn what they offer. They offer two very important services. One is called Skin IQ and one is called Color IQ. What Skin IQ does is identifies through various questions your most important skin concerns to make recommendations based upon what it is you want your skin to do better. Whether it's anti-aging, dryness, oiliness, acne, whatever issues you have, Sephora is obviously there to help you navigate them. They also have what's called Color IQ, and Color IQ is basically a tool that they created with Pantone. And Pantone, if you're not sure what they are, Pantone actually develops colors and names them as an industry standard. So every year they come up with a color of the year, and this year it's actually Marsala. So if you've heard of people talking about this Marsala color, basically that is the color that is being inspired in makeup, skincare, fashion, beauty. It's all about Marsala. Anyway, Pantone and Sephora teamed up to create a device that takes pictures of your skin in 3 different places: your forehead, your cheek, and then your neck. And then it comes up with an average color of what your skin tone actually is and picks it out of 115 different profiles. Then there are over 1,500 products they recommend, not just to you, but in general. So you'll get like an email of, say, 20 products, different textures, colors, tones, consistencies, all suited to your individual face and complexion. More importantly than color IQ really is skincare. I have to say that skincare is extremely important. It is the basis of what your face is going to look like without makeup. And in my opinion, the more natural you can approach your makeup routine, the better off you are. You're going to leave today with a basic understanding of an everyday, easy routine that is appropriate in the workplace, in everyday life, and elsewhere. Lynn, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience?
Sure, yeah. I actually have been in Sephora, but only to buy things for other people as gifts, not having a clue what to buy.
Right.
So it was really enlightening for me to go in and not knowing that they will do this color matching and this product sort of overview, but having you there to be able to say, okay, here's 50 products that would be great for your skin, but this is what I'm picking. So it was nice to have someone there narrowing it and to truly, understand. I think, I always took care of my skin or thought I did, but until I got some insight from you, I don't think I really knew what I was doing. And so this was incredibly helpful for me. And I thought Sephora was really helpful just on a general level, but having you there just helped really solidify what was happening. So it was a great experience.
I act as an intermediary kind of between Lynn, the cast members, and myself to kind of help translate both worlds, because they use terms that often we as regular people won't understand. So I kind of helped as intermediary with Lynn.
Oh, and they give you samples of
so many
everything,
samples.
which is really cool.
So many samples. Let's talk a little bit about skincare. With that in mind, I'm going to go through the routine that Lynn has adopted since going to Sephora. So just give me 1 second here. I'm going to talk about makeup wipes. These are by Ulla Hendrickson, and they are fantastic. Makeup wipes are something that you should have in your arsenal at night, and even in the morning if you're in a hurry. You should always have a clean face. I tell clients not to spend money on cleansers because they go down the drain literally. My favorite cleansers are actually by a company called CeraVe, C-E-R-A-V-E. You can buy it in a drugstore. It's very gentle on anyone's skin. And Purpose, which is actually a soap that you can buy also in a drugstore in a pump. Both of those are perfectly fine. You do not need to spend money on, in my opinion, a cleanser because, like I said, it goes down the drain. But for today's purposes, we are going to use a wipe just to initially give Lynn a nice clean start. And this one actually has vitamin C, which is a brightening product. And it's just going to give her a nice, refreshed face before I do anything else with skincare. Now, my approach to skincare is to use natural products but enhance them with a treatment. And by treatment, I mean alpha hydroxy-based products, retinol-based products, things that actually work to correct any issues you have with your skin. When I met Lynn, her concerns were really fine lines, dryness, oiliness, all these little things that we can combine into one actual issue. And my favorite all-around product to deal with all of those concerns is by Dr. Dennis Gross. These are, can you see that? Yes. These are called Dr. Gross Alpha Beta Peel Pads, and they sound really scary, but they are actually wonderful. I've been using them myself for the past 6 years. What they do is help exfoliate dead skin and renew your complexion. Now, when you think of exfoliating, you probably think of a scrub. You want to tend to avoid a scrub on a regular basis because they can create little tears in your skin which can actually cause breakouts and some small imperfections and scars. This exfoliates with alpha hydroxy acids, which are more natural and a little bit easier on your skin. They're very easy to use. So I'm going to open this up, if I can find a pair of scissors. Okay. And what we're going to do is use the first step, which is actually the surface refining step. And you basically wipe it all over your face. Now, before you get concerned about the price of any of these products, it's extremely important to understand that you can get samples of these before you actually buy them. They do have a sample packet that's $15. If you decide you love them, you can save your money and invest a little bit more. But again, don't be afraid to ask for samples, trial and error. You can also contact me at the end of this if you want recommendations for products that I like from drugstores. That's absolutely fine. I'm just pulling on things that I know work and that Lynn is now using. Lynn, you want to talk a little bit about what these feel like?
Sure. I tried those on Allison recommended that I try them on an evening, like on a Sunday night, just to make sure that if I was going to have any kind of skin reaction, that we could make sure that I looked halfway decent the next day. So I put the first, the part one on Sunday night, and it was just a wonderful, clean, tingly feel, and then waited about 3 minutes, as you said, brush your teeth, and then put the second part on. It just was a great, you know, definitely different than a scrub, which you sometimes I don't know, it's hard to describe the difference. All I know is that this felt so much better than any kind of a scrub or something with a lot of kind of whatever those pebbles are in it.
Right. Now, when I say acid, can you clarify? Does it hurt?
It's tingly. You can definitely feel your pores kind of opening, but I actually like that feeling in my skin because it makes it feel like something's happening. So I don't get that with scrubs. I got that with this.
So I'm going to go ahead and neutralize her, which is step 2. And as you can see, this is super easy to do in the morning or actually at night before you go to bed. You're just going to simply wipe it off, neutralize, and then you're not going to wash your face because your face is now clean. What you're going to do is moisturize. And I brought my favorite moisturizer. I have a jar that I use on clients by a company called Fresh. And as far as skincare goes, I am definitely not a loyal skincare girl. I have tried everything out there. And I can say with confidence that Fresh is one of the reasons that I have pretty good skin. Their ingredients are straightforward. They're a natural-based company. I enjoy the products. They're minimally priced considering what they actually do. This jar of lotion is called Lotus Youth Preserve. I don't know. I'll have a list of products for you later if you'd like. This jar is $42 and I've had it for 5 months now. I only use a little tiny bit. I use literally a pea-sized amount, okay? People tend to over-apply products. You don't need to. If you're using skincare like this, you do not need to use a lot of it. Less is definitely more in this case. You want to kind of rub it, and then you just want to apply it going up and let it sit for a moment. And as you can see, this is a pretty easy routine to do in the morning if all you're doing is washing your face, adding a moisturizer, and letting it sit for a moment. And
Allison, can I ask you real quick? Is
Sure
it
can.
something you can do every day?
I would
Or
say
is it
start off with, if you're going to do the alpha beta pads, start them off once a week.
Okay.
Okay. I tell people to do that kind of thing on a Monday. Give your skincare a ritual. Sundays are a nice little day to take 5 minutes to yourself to either give yourself a facial or do this little peel pad. Give yourself time for yourself. That's really the most important part. I'm now using the best eye cream for someone my age, 39. It's called Black Tea HLA Eye Concentrate. Again, I use this on my clients because it is instantly depuffing. And I use basically the size of a sesame seed, very, very little. And again, rub it between your fingers and then pat. And when I say pat, I don't mean go hard. You really want to apply everything with a light touch. And you just keep on patting it in and you let it sit for a minute. Okay. Just let it sit, and then while we're doing that, we're going to talk a little bit about makeup tools, because I think that we all get a little confused when it comes to how to apply makeup, what you actually need, how much you should spend. As a makeup artist, I have probably 100 different brushes. No way would I ever recommend to somebody who's looking to buy brushes to spend that much money and have that many brushes. There are great brushes you can find in Ulta, Harman, CVS, any drugstore. Some of my favorite ones that you should look for are Real Techniques. You can buy those at Ulta. I think Target has them as well. Also, a great brand is by e.l.f. And this is a great brush. It's a fantastic foundation brush, also a powder brush. I like multi-purpose brushes. I don't like to have a billion brushes in my own routine because it's just too much for every day. This actual brand, e.l.f., is in Target, Harman, all over. This brush was, I think, $3. Now, is it the best quality? No. It does the job. I throw them out. I buy new ones. I go on. It's really not that big of a deal. This one has been in my kit now for about 8 months, and I use it pretty often. Quick point about taking care of your brushes. Buy baby shampoo to wash them once a month, but on a daily basis. You definitely want to buy a brush cleaner, and this one's from Makeup Forever. However, Sephora sells one, Harman sells one, Target has one I think now. What they do is they remove the makeup that you used during your application for the current day that you're putting makeup on. And you'll see as I work on Lynn what that looks like, okay? Yes.
We have a few questions.
Oh.
Can I interrupt occasionally?
Yes,
We have one
please.
that goes with the skincare.
Try to
Okay.
get them where they go, where you're doing
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Let's hear
So
it.
we have the person would like to know when or how old should you start using age reverse or preventative products for your skin?
Age reverse, I think the answer to that is twofold. One, you should be using SPF 30 every day from the age of like 18 up. That really ties into anti-aging skincare, because if you're not doing that, you're going to need to use anti-aging skincare much younger. If you're 30, I think that's a great time to start using anti-aging skincare. If you're in your late 20s and you think that you have skin that needs a little more attention, definitely recommend starting that. But again, I think it really depends on your individual skin. Does that answer that question well enough?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Any
great.
other questions?
We have a question about eyeshadow, but
Okay.
if you want to wait until you're doing
No, we can hear.
Okay, so this person wanted to know that when she applies eyeshadow, it cakes
Okay.
and it lands up further on her eyelid than she wants. Are there any products or techniques that can help stop this?
Absolutely. Eyeshadow primer, which I'm going to be using on Lynn, is actually what you want to start using to take care of any cakiness. Eyeshadow primer smooths out your lid. Also make sure that when you're putting on eyeshadow, you tap your brush before you put it on, because that'll remove any excess product, and if you're getting a cakey look, you may be using too much. Also the kind of brush you're using. Just as a point of reference, this brush covers a lot of space because of how big it is. Okay, it's a large brush. This brush, by contrast, is a much smaller brush and therefore would probably not cover, obviously, your entire face. It's going to work on your eyes. So when you're using eye makeup, it's all about the brush, and you'll see the brushes that I use as I apply makeup on Lynn, okay? A quick point about SPF. When I put my lotion on Lynn, if she were not wearing a base that had SPF in it, I would use this with this. This is an SPF 50 by a company called Algenist that I've been using for about 3 years now. And I swear by it. It's very liquid. I'll show you the consistency. I like it because it's SPF 50, but it literally blends right into your skin. And you can wear it under makeup. You can also wear it on its own. It gives your skin like a nice little bit of a glow. It's a great SPF, and I wear this year-round. So when Lynn got color matched, she decided that she liked a product by a company, NARS, called Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. And I absolutely love this product. It is a product that I also use on clients and on myself. You'll see that when I put it on, she'll look very luminous and glowy, which I think is much more attractive than the current trend of very matte skin. The matte look right now is, in my opinion, very contradictory to our weather. We're in a dry season. Why anyone wanted to have matte skin is beyond me. You look dry, cakey. You almost look ill in some cases. Look to always have a little bit of dewiness to your complexion. The more dewy you look, the younger you're going to look. And who doesn't want, you know, a little support? Now, how much foundation should we be using? Very little. This is tinted moisturizer, which is extremely light in coverage. I tell clients use less and apply more later if you need to. So I'm going to put on Lynn that much, which you can see again, it's a pea-sized amount. And how I apply foundation on anybody is I dot it on her face where she has any redness, and I dot it all over. Now you can dip your brush in, but this actually controls where I'm placing the product. Another thing about this is it has SPF 30. Which again is extremely important as we enter summer and spring. Make sure you're wearing at least 30, if not 50. Then what I do is I just kind of buff it in, working outward. Going up. And you can see this brush, this $3 brush, is doing a great job of just evening out what I just put on her skin and covering up any redness and evening her complexion. Now what I do before I apply concealer, there's a couple of different ways to apply makeup. Some artists start with the eyes and then work their way over to foundation and complexion. But because we're going for a more natural look, I'm actually working on the complexion first and then the eyes. If I'm doing on a client a very smoky, dramatic eye for like a nighttime event, I'll start with the eyes first and work my way backwards, skincare or to color and correction in her complexion. But because we're working on basically a nice, dewy, everyday look, we want to see how everything looks. We don't want to put too much makeup on.
Before we get into her eyes,
Yes.
we have a question about foundation.
Sure.
She asked, would a beauty blender be better for liquid foundations?
Beauty blenders, great question. I like beauty blenders. I find that they actually absorb a lot of foundation. So I don't particularly love a beauty blender. I like them if you're using a very thick foundation. If you're using like a full coverage foundation and you have a beauty blender, feel free to use it for that purpose. But if you're using tinted moisturizer, buy yourself a $3 brush from e.l.f. and do that instead. Because the beauty blenders, like I said, can really absorb a lot of the makeup and waste your products. This is actually an eye primer from e.l.f. that I think was $2. The reason I like it is because it has just a little bit of a pink in it, which helps to neutralize any redness. You can see the color. It'll help neutralize any redness that you might have in your eyes. And how you apply it is usually with your fingers. I'm going to show with a brush on one eye and with my finger on the other. And what this does is helps your eyeshadow to stay in place. And you can see in this particular instance that Lynn actually could wear this as an eyeshadow because, I'm going to cross over here. it's light enough that it could be considered an eyeshadow. And I often, when I'm on the go, just put on this product with a little mascara and call it a day. So you can see her eyes look a little bit more awake. She looks a little bit more refreshed. Moving on to concealer. Again, it really is about less is more. I'm very dark under my eyes, and I have to use what's called a color corrector to even out any kind of dark circles. What they do is cancel out the blue. And this one is actually a Maybelline concealer. It's called Dream Lume Camouflage. And I think this was probably $8. It's one of those dupe products that is used for higher end products, and I love it because it's very easy to apply. It goes on nice and smooth, and it does help to cancel out any darkness. Now, when I put this on, if this is enough, I won't put a concealer on because you don't need to. Less is always more. Now, I'm actually going to use a technique by a makeup artist named Trish McAvoy that is called the triangle of light. And what that is taking the darkness from the inner part of your eye over here and drawing down and up a V, and then filling in the V with the product. Now this might look absolutely insanity bonkers to you. Open your eye. Look up. But when I finish, you're going to see the difference between one eye and the other. And I always like to go up in this corner. People always forget about this area. The darkness in the corner of your eye is what's always left behind for some reason. Now what you do is take your ring finger, you just tap. Very gently, you tap into place. Look at me. I don't know if you can see the difference.
Can I move in?
You can move in. I can move in a little bit, yes.
Okay.
But one side, this lighting's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
This side is looking a little bit lighter, not as dark, because we just put a little bit of color corrector on. So I'm not going to use any concealer because we really don't need to. If I were going to use concealer, I would do the same exact thing with my technique of going in a V, look up, and then filling it in.
So Allison, we
Yep.
have a question about whether or not you should apply, since you're doing it, concealer with a brush or your finger.
You can use either. I think it depends upon the individual. I like to use a brush. If I'm using, I use a pretty heavy concealer because, like I said, I'm pretty dark. I'm not lucky like Lynn over here who only needs a little bit of color corrector. And my favorite concealer brush is actually this one from Sephora. I've had it for about 5 years now, maybe 4. And it's fantastic because it really helps to kind of smooth out the concealer and give you an even look. So if I were to use this to blend out what I just used on Lynn, what I would do is just use this brush, and you can see it covers a bunch of different areas. I can go right underneath her eye without it actually going into her eye because of the dome. And the great thing is it does really help blend out the concealer so that it looks even. You don't want a line. You don't want it to look like you have on this big tiger stripe of eye makeup and this big look of concealer. You want it to look flawless. This big trend of contouring with women wearing these huge amounts of makeup to look more natural, you don't need it, really. Trends come and go, and that's one that is out of the door, hopefully soon, in my opinion.
Okay, she also asked, that was a great answer, by the way, thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
she also asked that she's heard that orange tones can help combat dark circles. And so if that's true, can you actually use like an orange eyeshadow or lip tint or something like that under your concealer?
I wouldn't necessarily say orange. I think it depends upon your complexion. If you're darker and have ethnic skin, orange does work. I prefer the salmon and the pink family because I find that it often works on multiple skin colors and does the job. But again, if you want to email me at the end, I can help walk you through some options regarding that. I wouldn't say necessarily orange. I know there are products out there that are an orange base, but again, it depends upon your individual skin tone and background.
And with that, does the eye primer also help with, for example, eyeliner?
Yes.
So that would help keep it lower on the lid.
Right.
Okay.
And what eye primer does is it helps your makeup stay on. It also gives your eyeshadow an intensity that you would only get with a primer. If you're putting on your eyeshadow on your lid directly, you're probably mixing it with your skin's oil, and it has nothing to hold on to. Primer is like a little bit of a glue, if you will, that actually holds the eyeshadow in place for you. I'm using a palette that I picked up for my kit this year by a company called Stila, and it is the Nuvo Natural Eyeshadow Palette. It is absolutely my favorite for the season. It's all nudes, it's all neutrals, it's all the colors that everyone can wear, and I'm going to be using it today because this is obviously a webinar about more natural looks for every day. So I'm going to just kind of pick out a little bit of a soft tawny pink, and again, always tap off any excess. And you want to start with the darkest color on your lid closest to your lashes. So close your eyes. And you can see I'm using like more of a round brush, but one that doesn't have too big of a dome. Oh, close. And this is just a nice soft color. Lynn does not wear a lot of makeup. So I don't want her to wear colors in every day that she would never wear just today. I want her to leave here feeling like she could do this on herself. If you wear darker colors, by all means, go for it. But since Lynn is a natural girl, I want to keep her makeup looking as natural and realistic for her as possible.
And could you tell us again which eyeshadow primer brand that was you used, Allison?
That was e.l.f.
Great, thank
Eyes
you.
Lip Space. Yep.
You can get it at Target.
You can get it at Target. Who doesn't love going to Target?
I have an e.l.f. brush, and I have to say it's wonderful.
They are good.
For $3?
Yeah. For $3, I mean, listen, if you have more money to spend, I can recommend brushes that are fantastic, that'll last you much longer. But a lot of us are on a budget, and makeup is it's a luxury item. Let's be honest. We all can't afford to buy brand new brushes every year. So now I'm going to kind of go in with a bigger brush and apply a little bit of a brown color to her crease. And I'm just going to blend it in very lightly.
Is there any way we can bring Lynn in a little closer?
You sure can.
Sure.
Great. We can adjust this too. We need.
Okay. Is that better?
Is that better? A little closer?
I think so. They wanted to see more.
Okay. There you go. Actually, we'll look at just a little bit closer.
How do you know which colors blend well when you're applying eyeshadow?
Trial.
When you have a
Trial and error. It's really about playing. The great thing about a palette like this is that any of them really match each other. Stila created this palette to be a neutral palette. There's a combination of mattes and shimmers. Really, it's about starting with the darkest color closest to your eye and then working your way up to lightest. Now I did put in Lynn's crease a complementary kind of brownish color just right in the corner here because I'm not going to put in a lot of eyeliner on Lynn. If I were going to put a lot of eyeliner on Lynn, then I probably would skip putting a darker color in her crease. And now I'm going to just put a little bit of a highlight color on her brow bone.
You know, I feel like that has sort of lifted I have sort of like a hanging lid over my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that those combination have sort of lifted that. So
What happens
That's
when
exciting.
when you move color up your face and up towards your eye, you actually move things up.
Mm.
When I fill in her eyebrows, you're going to notice as well a difference because you want everything to go up, right? We don't want things to go down. We want things to go up. So the idea here is to stay as neutral as possible. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of a shimmery pink right in her brow bone. And that is basically, honestly, all I would do. I like to take a big fluffy brush and then just close your eyes and then just kind of blend it out so that if any excess is left, it's off of her eye because, again, less is more. And now we're going to move on to the ever popular eyebrow. Eyebrows are a big trend. If you're on Instagram, you've probably seen a million brow tutorials where they're drawing them out and making them really big or dramatic. It's a trend. If it's something that you love, fantastic. But I just want women to fill in their brows with as minimal effort as possible. This is actually a universal eyebrow pencil by a company called IT Cosmetics. It's universal because the shade is really just a natural taupe. It fills in. It doesn't actually color. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So what you want to do is this is great because it has like a little spoolie on one side. So you want to brush eyebrows up and figure out where you're going to fill them in. There are many different ways you could do this. You could go and start at the bottom, down here, or at the top. I like to kind of work my way from here and just get a sense of where her arch is. There's also powder eyebrow, different ways you can apply it with powders. But I like, in this case, a pencil like this because it is one shade and it's easy enough to use. You just want to take it and apply it in a stroking method like this because you are trying to mimic the look of hair. Lynn has pretty light eyebrows, so we want to fill them in just so that it looks like her own eyebrow, not like we're trying to reconstruct and reinvent the wheel, right? Mm-hmm. Nice and simple. I don't know if you can see the difference there.
Oh, wow. Whoa. I have eyebrows. I'm so happy.
And you saw it was really very simple. Mm-hmm. It just took a little bit of working up and then out. Mm-hmm. Okay?
And would you do a combination of brush, pencil, brush, pencil?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what it felt like.
So, again, on this side, we're just going to work up. And this is really the kind of thing that it takes practice. I want everyone to understand that this does not happen overnight. It does take practice and it does take a little bit of patience. One of the things that my clients like about me is that I answer emails pretty much all the time. And I get some pretty crazy emails at some pretty crazy hours about skincare, makeup, issues with acne. What should I use? I have a breakout. I have a black tie event tomorrow. What should I do? What should I do? And, you know, that's really what I like about my business is that I'm there for you not just during store hours, but pretty much whenever you need me to answer a question. The reason I started my own company was because I wanted to take away the counter and give women access to somebody who had the knowledge that they needed without having to feel like they had to buy something that they didn't need or buy a product that someone's trying to sell for the day. I wanted women to have someone that they could reach out to that would be able to answer their questions honestly and openly. And now you can see
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
very little product, very little effort, maximum impact. It's really, it just, again, it lifts everything up. Now you can see how Lynn's face is no longer kind of, she has more definition because her brows are filled in, she has a nice soft eyeshadow on, and then what I do is I move on to cheeks. Now,
Before we move on to
Yes.
the cheeks, we have an eyeliner question.
sure.
Should it be used on the lower lid to help define the eyes, especially if you have only a few lower lashes, if you don't have a lot of volume?
I never recommend using liner on the bottom lid because it pulls things down. If you're looking to do a smoky eye and you're looking to maybe define a little bit, that's one thing. But if you're going to line, always line your top lid. And I'm going to take off my glasses and kind of show you. I lined both my top and my bottom, but I usually only line my top. I've lined my top and my bottom because I'm wearing my glasses today. But I usually line my top lid because it lifts everything up, again. And I like brown eyeliner. I wear black if I have a special occasion or if I'm working and I'm going to be photographed or something like that happens. Then I wear black, but usually I wear dark brown. Any other questions about?
Not right now.
Okay, so again, this is a product by Stila. It's called Convertible Color, and it's in a shade called Peony, which is actually really a universally beautiful shade. It's like a pinky, tawny brown, and I like it because it's cream. And the reason I like cream is because it's easy to apply. It gives you a nice luminous glow, and this is actually a lipstick as well. So it does double duty. So what you do is you smile, and you touch it to the apple of your cheek, and then you blend out.
Oh.
So you can see that little tiny bit makes a huge difference.
I don't think I've ever smiled when I put blush on in my life, so
No.
this is very enlightening.
And then you can always, you know, the nice thing about cream is that you can control where you're putting it. Sometimes with powder, I feel like, at least even in my own life, I find that I go a little crazy and I look a little streaky. Cream is very forgiving, especially this product, because it's very blendable. Bobbi Brown also makes a great one. In drugstores, there's a few companies that make a cream blush. e.l.f. makes one, I believe, even. Maybelline, I think, is making one. There's different, you know, there's different brands, different price ranges. Again, you can contact me at the end of this if you have any questions. And now you can see she just has a really light, nice, soft glow. Now, if I wanted to take her maybe to a bit of a more dramatic look, let's say she decided she wanted to go out but didn't want to put eyeliner on. Since she has great cheeks, what I'm going to do is use an illuminator. Again, this one is from NARS. It's from last summer. I've kept it in my fridge so it stays nice and safe. And it's just a very light illuminator. And I tell people if they're not into accenting their eyes, but they have really good skin, and Lynn has nice skin, you can just add a little bit of illuminator to kind of pop your cheek and give you a little bit of a shimmer, which is great at night, especially in the summer. You know, less makeup is more impactful a lot, and I think that as women, we're often told that's not the case, that more is better. If you look at Lynn, she looks nice and healthy, and that's really, I think, the goal, is to look healthy, look refreshed, look happy. You don't want to look cakey. Again, you want your skin to speak for you. You don't want your skin to be the first thing people see You want them to see you, but in your best. Moving on, people always have a question about mascara. And time again, I always recommend L'Oreal Voluminous. It's $8. It's fantastic. I probably buy about 15 a year because I give them to my clients when I'm finished with them. This one is Voluminous Million Lashes. And I always buy black. This one has a nice flexible tube. You can see, which is nice because it really kind of gets into the lashes. A lot of them used to be really stiff. This one's nice and flexible. And what I do is if it's a client's putting on their own mascara, you probably know how to do that. But since I'm putting it on Lynn myself, I have Lynn close her eyes. And I just wiggle it in to the lash line. Okay. Now she has very sparse lashes. So you just want to curl. What you do is take the brush and you actually rotate it up. And that gives you the illusion of more lashes and curled lashes too. Mascara is something that I feel is really very impactful. It gives you a nice overall look. It gives you a polished look. Often I'll just run out of the house with my tinted moisturizer, a little bit of cream blush, and mascara. And that'll be it for the day. Because believe it or not, as a makeup artist, one of the last things I want to do when I'm off is put on makeup. And it's so funny because so many artists I've talked to are the same way. On their day off, they don't want to be at all glammed up because when we're working, it's like pretty insane how much makeup I put on. You go back in. I don't usually do a second coat until I do a first coat to assess how much mascara we actually need. And again, you're going to wiggle up because we want Lynn's eyes to look awake and we want to pull things up.
So since we're focusing on the eyes, going back to the eyeliner question earlier, she wanted to follow up with that about dark brown versus black.
Okay.
So what?
I like everyday brown. I like black if you wear glasses. I think that if you wear glasses, you do need a little bit of an extra oomph. But every day I like a nice dark brown because really it's very forgiving. If you mess it up, you can blend it. Black sometimes is a little more difficult to blend. So I think in general, I'm a big fan of brown.
So you actually just got on to our next question where she says that she does wear glasses.
Okay.
And she has big frames, and sometimes she feels like her eyes get lost behind her glasses.
Right.
So how can she help make them pop?
Eyeshadow, definitely. I think it depends upon what color eyes does she have. Can we ask? What color eyes do you have?
She says brown.
Okay, so I think you could do a lot of fun things. It depends upon your job, how daring you are in real life. If you work in an industry where maybe you can wear a fun color, I think really a dark purple, which I know sounds crazy, can be quite beautiful because it actually complements the color of your eyes. Also a dark green, almost like a dark green brown. But I think playing with color when you have glasses is really a fun idea. Again, black. If you can master the cat eye, that looks fantastic behind glasses. Any kind of tone with a black in it, and then maybe like a fun lid color. Again, maybe like a purple eyeshadow. I know that sounds crazy, but believe me, it looks beautiful behind glasses. Like a light purple eyeshadow closer to your lash line, with just a little bit of black mascara and eyeliner could look really sophisticated. So you can see we're almost done. We're just going to take an overall look, and you can see that Lynn's eyes are done. And they look nice and natural.
Way better than I did when I came in.
And then if this were summer, or if this were like a time of day when I wanted to pop a little bit of bronzer, I would just kind of go up and follow where the sun naturally hits your skin. And this is actually a matte bronzer from Rimmel. People often ask me matte versus shimmer bronzer. I always say matte because shimmer can become too much. If you have shimmer in your blush and then shimmer in your bronzer, you look a little shiny, and we don't want that. So I often tell clients to buy a matte bronzer. Rimmel London shade 21 Sunlight. I think this was $6. Great bronzer. Then I just kind of decide what kind of lip I want Lynn to have. And I'm a big fan of these from Fresh. They're called Sugar. And they actually are a lip treatment and a lip color in one. I'm a big fan of multi-purpose. So what I'm going to do is just have Lynn smile. And I'm just going to lightly apply this. And you can see it just gives a nice little sheen. And these come in various shades. And again, I like them because there's multi-purpose use to them. They have one in a sheer that is really nice as well. That just kind of gives your lips a nice little dewiness. And that's
Smells
it.
amazing.
That's not very good.
Mhm.
And
You
that's
look amazing, Lynn.
Thank you.
You look like you're ready to go out. Now I'm going to need to go out.
Now, talking to shininess, because we are often, as women, during the day, we find that maybe our skin gets a little oily, a little shiny, maybe hormonally we're a little shiny. I tell clients to buy oil blotting sheets, and these are from, actually, these are from e.l.f. So these are, I think, $1, $2 a packet, and they are just basically sheets of paper that if Lynn were to feel oily during the day, I would just have her blot, and it would absorb the oil, not the makeup. People buy these pressed powders and keep them in their purse. The problem with that is the brush in there or the sponge in there is often very dirty. You don't want that. You want to keep your makeup on and clean. These remove the oil but not the makeup, so they're definitely a great thing to have. Now, when I'm finished at the end of my day and when I'm finished at home, what I like to do is clean up. And how I do that, again, I'm going to reference my good old brush cleaner. So how you use a brush cleaner, you take a paper towel and you spray a little bit of on the actual paper towel. I'm going to use this brush, and it all comes off. Can you see that? Okay, so it all comes off, and then so it's not on the brush any longer. Now, this takes 2 minutes, and it saves you germs. It saves you the problem of mixing colors. Often we don't clean our brushes every day, so the color you used yesterday is different than the color you're using today, and now you're mixing colors. And what if you were sick and you don't clean your brush? Ew, you're going to get sick again. So clean your brushes. If you use just a brush cleaner like this every day, you're going to make sure that your colors are staying true and that your brushes are staying nice and conditioned as well. So again, I always clean these at night. I use baby shampoo, and I'll clean them before my next client, obviously. But if I'm between clients and I'm doing like a bridal party, from an event for on set or something like that, then I use a brush cleaner in between if I don't have enough brushes. I always do, but if for some reason I have a brush I'm using a lot that day, then I try to clean them in between each client as much as possible. Just remember that makeup is supposed to be fun. Makeup is supposed to be not stressful. I know that often we feel that makeup is extremely overwhelming. I really don't want you to feel that way. I want you to feel confident and empowered. I think that is the reason I started my company, and that is the reason I do what I do, is because I want women to feel like they can control how they look and feel good about how they look, exactly the way they are. I didn't use anything crazy. I didn't use anything on Lynn that she couldn't do herself. Oftentimes we'll go to a makeup counter and have a billion products that we have no idea how to use. Again, if you have questions, please email me. I'm more than happy to answer them. Are there any other questions?
We do. We have a question about if setting spray
Mhm.
helps prevent oiliness.
Setting spray can help depending upon your skin. If you're really oily, then there are setting sprays by like Urban Decay, makes one called D-Slick that can definitely help with oiliness. I think that that's also a skincare issue if you're oily. You want to look at using maybe like a once-a-week treatment, like a mask that actually absorbs oil and mattifies your skin. It's about balancing. You know, you don't want your skin to be too dry or too oily. So I think if you're really oily, look for products that can help on a daily basis control the oil in your skincare routine, and you'll notice a difference in your makeup. There's also oil controlling powders and primers. I really think that it depends upon how oily you actually are.
Great. And then if we have any other questions coming in, we'll be sure to have Allison answer those, but we are going to go ahead and wrap up. So on behalf of the whole Alumni House and everyone attending, we'd like to thank you, Allison, for coming in and sharing all your knowledge and skills. And thank you, Lynn, for letting Allison
welcome.
beautify you.
I'm the lucky one here. Yeah.
And we hope to see you at our next webinar. So thank you for attending.